Hi guys, it is Sunday night. The kids are away and having a wonderful date night. I wanted really badly to do a video last week about letting go and the vulnerability of letting go. I did it twice. It didn't work out either time. I kept running long on time, forgetting what I wanted to say, and then something happened today and I was like, I have to sit down, even if it's just for a little bit, and talk about this. The kids went off with their dad today, and it was strange. We got into this extremely heated argument over coats. I wanted the kids to wear their coats to get in the car because you go outside the house and it's cold. His argument was that it was 50 degrees, so they didn't need their coats. In my mom brain, obviously all the rational arguments were like, of course they need their coats. 50 degrees is not 80 degrees. You still have to get in the car. The car is not going to be 80 degrees either. The car probably is like 60 because he runs a little warm and the kids are kids. They are still fragile and vulnerable. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Like, why would you even fuss about the children wearing coats? Like, if you were really that concerned, crack a window, right? Or like, worst case scenario, pull over at some point afterwards and take off their coats and just not fuss about it. Obviously for him that was not an option. So it continued, and I just eventually was like, do whatever you want. As long as I see the kids get in the car with their coats, I don't care what happens afterwards. I was like, tomorrow morning it's going to be freezing again. They're going to need these coats. You have to take these coats with you. And it kept on. Like, literally, there was a tremendous fuss about kids wearing coats. But for me, it was common sense, completely rational. Of course the kids have to wear coats. I can't speak to anybody else's point of view, but as a pure mom perspective, overprotective mama bear, of course they have to wear their coats. Why wouldn't they wear their coats? It's the middle of winter. Wear your coats. And I was frustrated about it. I went out to have my date night and to run a few errands, and I was like, why is this aggravating me so much? I have to let it go. And a part of it was that he continued to text me, and I was like, I'm not answering. I'm just not dealing with this. This is my night. This is my special time. As long as the kids got into the car with their coats, my brain wasn't going to explode. So I realized that point was like, I need to let go. And I'm terrible at letting go of things. Like, I am huge on holding grudges. It's the Italian in me. I have an honest excuse as far as that goes. It certainly is the Italian. Man, I've known my relatives to not speak to each other for years and years and years over an argument such as that. It's a thing, I can't explain it. Is it healthy? Probably not. Not at all. But it's something that we do. And I think, obviously, the first step is realizing that we do these things, right? I know I'm stubborn, and if I'm bothering to argue, I think that I'm in the right. And if it's something over the kids, of course I'm going to argue if I think I'm right, because it's for their health and safety and well-being. Duh. So to look back on it after it's happened and realize that was the dumbest argument I think I've ever had, and to realize I was so upset and involved in this argument that I shake my head, because I'm like, okay, I have to let this go. I'm not going to let this affect me. But how do we let it go? At some point you're just like, this is literally the dumbest thing ever. I'm over it. But for some things it's not that easy. My one really good example the first time I taped was that mail makes me anxious now that I'm adult, because what do you get in the mail? Bills. And my system for doing bills for a long time was just terrible. I would let everything pile up, and I just would forget bills because I wouldn't look at the envelopes, and I'd pay it online. Now, of course, I have a really, really fantastic system for bills. It doesn't mail doesn't make me anxious as much anymore, unless it's an unexpected bill. But I know that certain bills have to be paid at certain days. Like, it's in my calendar. And for the most part, I pay them automatically. And that in itself takes a huge stress, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I forget to pay the phone? What if I forget to pay whatever? I don't forget, because it's in my calendar. I can set alarms to remind myself for the things that I don't automatically pay. Like, I always go in to pay my Kohl's charge card, because I usually end up buying more stuff. Oh, terrible habit. It really is. But I usually have my Kohl's cash. That's, this time of the year especially. But I have an alarm on my phone. My stuff for, anything abnormal, I've learned that for me, it helps to pay with cash. So I make sure that I have the set amount in the bank account to pay the bills, and everything else I keep as cash so that I can keep track of it, as far as, paying for the dog food, paying for groceries, paying for kids' shoes. Everybody grew. I had to buy new shoes last week. So that's expendables for me. And then I always have a little bit left over, and usually it's the change from whatever, the ones and the fives. And with that, I'll allow myself to get, a snack at the gas station, or a lottery ticket, or Dr. Pepper, or, a little lunch out, something like that. And that's like my little special cash. But I don't purchase a lot. The bulk purchases that I make are typically food. Two growing kids and me, we go through a surprising amount of food. As picky as Dean is, he has the special brand of fish sticks and the special brand, especially of chicken nuggets, that he will eat, and that's it. So I have to be extremely careful of, how much everything is set aside, and they call it the envelope budgeting system. I have different envelopes that I put money. Yeah, literally. And that simple system works for me. I don't stress as much about money. Of course, I don't have it that often, so it's not such a big deal. But you need to find a system that works for you. My money should be a joy. Money should be a joy. I am grateful that I have the money to be able to pay for the bills. I do. I am grateful that I had money to be able to buy the kids, clearance clothes and shoes this week. I got some really, really great deals. I love getting great deals. It excites me. It does. It's goofy, but I always feel like I'm pulling one over on somebody. I love saving money. Total goober, total. So that letting go of the stress and anxiety over the mail took me a while. It really did. And letting go of the stress and anxiety of maybe not having enough money certainly is a big deal to a lot of people. Now, again, the definition of enough, for some people is a lot different than other people. Not buying organic ground beef versus not being able to buy meat one week just because there's not enough in the budget, and ending up with beans and, whatever you end up with. I've been there. That's completely different. But money is a huge stressor on people. Letting things go, a lot of people, it's relationships, whether it's, mentor relationships, family relationships, intimate relationships, friend relationships that may have gone terribly bad, letting it go. The process is always difficult, and in the end, you look back and you're like, why was that so hard? I knew at some point that it was bad. I realized that I had to change something about the situation, and it took me a while to get to where I am, but I'm happy now. And I think people have the most stress over money and relationships when it comes to letting go. Letting go of things, hoarders. Man, I love watching hoarders. It makes me feel like my house is pristine. Like, no lie. If I'm stressing out about cleaning the house, I'll turn on hoarders just to feel better while I clean the house. It's true. I swear it's true. But the kids stuff, I realized when I signed up to do a consignment sale for the kids stuff, that I was just really, really attached to some of it. And I didn't expect that at all. Like, I thought, hey, I'll make a few bucks. That would be fantastic. And someone who needs this stuff will be able to have it really cheaply, because I certainly don't do it to make money. But it was nice to have a little extra cash to buy the kids some consignment clothes. But I was really emotional. I was like, man, I really don't want to get rid of this shirt. Okay, pick a shirt, any shirt. And it's like, well, it doesn't fit either of them anymore. You know, they don't need this shirt. You know, it's too small for them. But in my head, I was like, I remember when Dean wore this shirt when he was little. And I remember when Audrey wore this shirt when she was little. And I can't let it go because my memories are of my babies in this shirt. Like, and it's silly. It is, even saying it, I feel silly. But I had to literally say to myself, I am ready to let this go. I am ready for someone in need to use this because there's plenty more use in this shirt. Let me give it to somebody that needs it, basically, you know? And I had to do that when I donate stuff because I don't know. There are just a few shirts that I really, really, you fall in love with, right? Especially my dress shirts. I'll really, really like something, and I'll only wear it once or twice because I don't want to get it messed up or get it dirty or whatever. And then, you know, I realize I haven't worn it for years and years and years, and I'm like, you know, I really need to let this stuff go. I'd like to donate it. I'd like to consignment sale it, whatever. And I'm like, oh, but I love this shirt. I mean, I haven't worn it or seen it in 3 years, but I love it, you know? It's like, okay, you know what? I'm okay to let this go. I'm okay for someone else to love this shirt and wear it and enjoy it and give it life. I'm okay to let it go now. And that, it took me a while to get to that point, to have to tell myself literally out loud, I'm really glad I got this shirt. I had a lot of fun in this shirt. I'm ready to let this go. And I think a lot of people should say that more in their relationships. I had a great relationship. It's no longer great. I've learned my lessons. I'm ready to let it go. And that's it. That's the whole point, especially of the argument. To get back to the beginning of the story, I was like, this is enough. This argument does not make sense. It's not helping me. You know, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. Anything that starts to do you way more harm than good, let it go. Now, you know, that may be just a little argument in a relationship. It might be a disagreement over how to spend money in a relationship. But at some point, you either all in or you let it go. And that's up to you, of course. But I think in being able to discuss how hard it is to let go and how vulnerable we are even to our things, our kids' stuff, makes us emotionally vulnerable because we're attached to things, we're attached to people, we're constantly changing and evolving in our relationships, especially with the kids growing out of clothes, getting new clothes, making new memories and things. And it's interesting how the human brain really comprehends and holds on and sucks on to things. And we need to sometimes be like, okay, you know what? Stuff happened. We need to let it go. All right? And that's it. That's it. That's it. Just let it go. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it a process? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a process. So don't be so hard on yourself because everyone has been there. Everyone has been there. Not always over coats. Not always over baby clothes. Not always over toxic friendships. But everybody has been through something where it was difficult for them to let it go. All right. So know that you are not alone. And just take some practice. Hey, it's a perfect time to go through your closet and donate stuff, you know. A great tax write-off for next year. And do some emotional house cleaning too. You know, watch your trigger points for the week. I know this is a week late, but hey, go for it. Go for it. Homework. Watch your trigger points for the week and what emotional stimulation popped that trigger, and what can you do to let it go, you know, so that it's no longer a trigger, and work towards those goals. All right, I love you guys very, very much. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I know this week is going to be fantastic because I said so. So live it, get her done. I love you guys.